Hi everyone, it's Jeannie. I just wanted to do a little video about me, a little bit about part of my story, and I thought you might be interested in hearing about it. I know I don't look like I normally look on my videos. I have just come in from a really nice ride, horses. I've always been into horses since I was about, 9, 10. I think I got my first horse, a wild little mare, and that's where I learned to stay seated on a horse and not get thrown. But anyway, I thought I would go over some different photos with you and show you a little history of my time with horses, what I've done, my riding career. It hasn't been a career, it's been a pleasure. And some of the high points and some of the low points, because there were some tough times. So anyway, this might give you a little bit more of an insight as to who I am, what I'm about. Some of you know I am a winemaker, and there are other things I do as well. But horses have been my therapists forever, and they're the best because they listen so well. And anyway, I'm hoping you will enjoy this little video. And I'll do some voiceover explanations with some of the photos that I have and kind of give you a peek into my world. So I appreciate you being here. Like and subscribe. I really do. I've gotten some wonderful comments already that just have blown me away and made me feel so good. And I carry those comments with me all day long. And it's just like, wow, what beautiful people I'm attracting. And it's like, I want to keep that trajectory going. So I thought maybe learning a little bit about me might do that. And I hope you enjoy this. And thank you again for coming to my channel, watching, subscribing, leaving kind, generous, thoughtful comments. And I truly, truly do appreciate you. My love for horses began a couple of generations ago with my grandfather, who was a professional jockey in the 30s and into the 40s, and then after the war as a trainer. Here he is, third from the left, sitting on the ground, among others such as Red Pollard. That's him right there in the middle. He was a very winning jockey, and you can see some of his glory days with these wreaths of roses standing with the winning horse and the owners. And something to remember is the jockeys then did not make a lot of money. They were paid basic wages throughout the week. And if they got hurt, they did not often get treatment at hospitals because they knew they couldn't pay. And so it very likely meant the end of their career. I look at these photos and see such a badass in my grandfather, a little Irish English guy, but gosh, he was good. And he actually taught me how to ride my first horse. This is my mom on one of her horses, and I'm so grateful she's still with us today. Look how beautiful she is. And another one of her horses. My first mount was not a horse, but actually a motorcycle here. My dad was a pretty badass guy too. He raced Harley Davidsons for the Harley Davidson Company in his early years. As an adult, when I lived in Texas, this is the barn I rode out of. It was a huge barn with lots and lots of warm bloods. And this is Novi, we called him, an amazing horse. He had automatic pilot with regard to showing he was so good. He just knew what to do. He was a Spanish stallion as well. Getting ready on show day meant you prepare the horse the day before, and it was almost an all-day event, particularly with manes like this that needed washing and conditioning and shampooing and braiding. But look at the result and how beautiful he is. Once the horses were ready, then it was time for me, the rider, to get ready. And since I wore white, I did this as the last thing on the list. And ta-da, here I am, ready to go in the hot Texas heat. And here's a kiss for good luck as I head into the arena. Like I said, Novi just knew what to do. He turned it on, and I just think he knew all the eyes were on him. This picture really reflects my relief that the show is over and my satisfaction. I didn't know then because the results came in later, but I had actually earned a first place award. So I was pretty happy with that performance. I continued training with various horses and just loving every minute of it. So much so that when our grandson came out to stay with us for a summer, we even introduced him to the barn and the horses and got him into riding. And then came Galante, another Spanish stallion that I was training on. Well, he was full of energy and really needed a stronger rider than me. One day he decided he was a rodeo bronc and decided to get me off of him, and I went flying through the air and landed on my knees. It was a very long and difficult recovery because both of my knees were damaged, not broken, but lots of tendons and ligaments were strained and torn. So I had to give up riding for a few years as those healed. My right knee I had some surgery on, and it took a while to get back to it. But eventually I did. That's my dog Max. I put my boots and spurs back on and began looking for another horse. By this time we were in California, and an old high school friend called me and said he had a beautiful chestnut mare that he wanted me to check out, and she was a warm blood, which is the only part of that I was interested in. I did not want a mare, and I went and met her, tried her out, and instantly fell in love. It was like meeting a soulmate. Widget, or Widgie as we called her, became my heart horse, and there wasn't anything that she wouldn't do for me. She was such an amazing horse. We decided to breed her. That's her on the far left. We decided to breed her to another warm blood, and we looked for the right horse that would possibly bring down the size just a little bit, because she was so big, a little over 17 hands, and we found Gaspard de la Nuit. We applied, because you had to be approved, for him to be a sire, and we got approved. And look at this beautiful horse. We met him, and his temperament matched his beauty. We kept track of Widget's cycles, and when the time was right, had his semen FedExed, and she was inseminated by our vet. And here she is at about 11 months, getting ready to get rid of that thing in her belly. We could tell she was getting close, and that one particular day I saw a look in her eye, and I decided to sleep in the barn that night, and I'm so glad I did, as I was able to help deliver Minstrel de la Nuit, our beautiful foal. He was born about 1 a.m., and I began breathing into his nostrils as soon as we had the bag off of him. I wanted to imprint who I was to him. Widget was such a great mom. Watching him run and play was so much fun. A lot of work for Widgie, but he was such a joy.
Kick it. Go get it. Oh, you're such a playful boy. Get it. Good boy. That's it. You're such a good boy.
We began training him and working with him, entering him into various competitions, and he became a very winning horse, often grand champion. We trained and trained, and he won and won. Look at that beautiful body. I joked that he was the George Clooney of horses. I liked George Clooney. And then one day, taking him into one of the workout arenas that had lots of jumps in it, something spooked him, and he reared up, knocking me down unintentionally, and I went under him. My husband grabbed his lead, not knowing I was under him, and he trampled me. 1,200 pounds with hooves all over my body, and I was a hurt person. I was broken, my face was broken, eye orbits broken, my ribs were broken, abdominal lacerations, contusions all over my body. But I was lucky. I was not maimed. I was not completely disfigured. I was not put into a wheelchair, and I did not die. It took a long time, but I began to heal. There's my arm put back together. And I healed enough that we could even attend the wedding about 6 weeks later of our daughter in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Reuniting with Minstrel was a very emotional moment for me and for him. See how happy he is with his ears forward? He was just thrilled to see his mommy again. And it was time to get him back into training. Here we are a day before a show, training his routine, and he did not like the flags that had been put up. Look at those double barrel kicks. He was completely unhappy about this and very stressed out. But we had to desensitize him because the show was coming up tomorrow. But like the champ he was, on show day he pulled out all the stops and put on an amazing performance, even winning a blue ribbon. Here's his wall of fame. We decided to build a pasture on our property and bring Widget home where she could be with us as we weren't showing her or putting her into training. Out of the blue, Widget had some sort of neurological accident and we had to put her down. Saying goodbye to her was one of the hardest things of my life. She was my heart horse, and I'll never forget her. Another decision we made at this time was to go ahead and sell Minstrel to a stronger writer who could take him to his highest potential, and we found that in his new owner. We feel we did not lose a horse, but we gained a family member with his new owner, and it's been wonderful staying in touch and watching his progress. Even knowing it was the best thing, saying goodbye was difficult. Watching him leave our barn for the last time brought lots of tears to my eyes. These days, I ride a Tennessee Walker who is owned by my neighbor down the road. And instead of dressage, we go trail riding, off trail. And this is TC. He's got a heart as big as his body, and he's just a lovely horse to ride. And I truly enjoy him and feel safe on him.
Oh, yes, so
have a beautiful pasture that we still maintain, and I imagine seeing Widget running around in there, looking out, being able to go down and give her love and snuggles whenever I want. We really miss her. But I'm very grateful for the imprint she left in my heart and in my soul. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this part of my horse life. I appreciate you. Thank you again.